Sondra, how you doing? What's going on?
Good. Sondria.
So I'm so sorry. I'm
Okay.
fucking up.
It happens all the time.
I'm so
Eh,
like ugh, scatterbrained and like all over the place.
Yeah, I'm just now like this week I've been on, but like before I was very like loopy.
How are you feeling during the quarantine right now?
I'm good. A lot of my schedule hasn't really changed. It's just like
Uh-huh.
I hate going to school online. It's really a drag.
You know
But
what?
other than that, it's cool. I might do it now that I have like a little discipline thing going. I might be able to do it going forward because it actually gives me a lot more time to write.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, like the first 2 weeks of online school, it's like I never do the shit on time. Like I'll get it done, but it'll be like, all right, now I got to get it done and then negotiate with this motherfucker about why it wasn't there on the due date. It worked out luckily, but it's just like it's harder for me to keep the deadline if I'm not showing up to class for some reason. I don't know, some kind of mental block.
I'm actually the same way. I don't believe in due dates. I know that they're necessary, but it's just like,
Are they though?
how do I really feel about this shit?
I mean, even babies don't show up on their due date. That should tell us something.
Wow. I mean, due dates are right, arbitrary.
Exactly.
You had access to the questions?
Yeah, I saw the in your message. Yeah, I saw the question.
Cool. Let's just start it. Like, tell us your name, age, occupation, even though I'm starting to realize occupation is a weird phrase.
I'm occupied.
Right.
Like, I'm a writer though, but I'm okay. My name is Sondria. I'm 35 years old, and I'm a writer, and I'm a student.
Nice. What are you studying right now?
I'm studying creative writing and business law.
Wow. Why business law? Not that it's a bad thing, but whoa, I didn't expect
because I'm an artist and I have a lot of friends that are artists, and a lot of us are not legal. We don't speak legalese. So to me, it's just another language. So I want to like master that tongue as well.
Okay.
And then it's like, it'll help with the business side of things. Like I want to have a publishing company. So knowing the laws behind my artistry is important. And then I can help other motherfuckers do the same, just other people that are coming up in the same,
coming up in the same field and the
same field with the same problems. It's like, oh, one of us knows what the fuck is going on. Yeah. Now more of us will know,
I feel that. I know you said writer, but I feel like I want to put you like as an author, like you're published.
I am published.
Tell us about your published. Yes.
I do be writing. I'm, when you think about the stuff, you never have to think about the stuff that you're doing because it's just work. And then you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, okay. But that's like, you save that shit for the end. Yeah. I got a lot of years to do that. But what's the question? Sorry, I don't know what the question was.
It's okay. So the question is, you're published. Tell us about your published writings.
Yes. That's what I thought. Okay, so published writings. So the thing that I love to write is fiction. Mm-hmm. And my fiction is self-published. So I publish through Amazon and I sell them myself. I have no publishing company for my fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Then I write for magazines, like Culture Magazine, Reflect Magazine, Voila Magazine, LA Art Magazine, like just different art magazines. Either I started off writing for blogs, doing artist interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started writing about events and then just doing music reviews and shit like that. So that's kind of the stuff I get paid for, which is lit because I get paid a lot to do that. Like people pay me good money to do those little art articles that are very simple to write.
Yeah.
It's way harder to write the fiction. Nobody pays me for it. I'm just kidding. It's good.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm just kidding. It does good actually. The fiction does okay. I'm learning how to freak it better this year. But then I get royalties because I wrote a song. Like I co-wrote a song for the band Earth, Wind & Fire a few years ago. And we get royalties on that. So that's like money for Wolverine. Like, so that's what I'm learning more about the business side of writing. That so much of art, this is like this money, the art will feed me now and then it can feed him later too, the same piece of art, So that's like, yeah, make your money that way.
I got a lot to learn from you in that area. That's interesting.
Mhm.
If you feel comfortable answering this question, what is your gender expression and sexual identity?
I mean, I'm just a Black girl. That's like the closest thing to what I would identify as. I don't really think, but okay, so I guess like people would say I'm queer, but it's like these are like word like I use my language sparingly, right? I don't put words where words are unnecessary. Where body language is necessary, I wouldn't speak. You know what I'm saying? I would
Mm.
hope I wouldn't. You know what? I would hope I wouldn't. I would try very hard not to apply words where words are not applicable. And I think for identity, I am what I am. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see and feel me when I'm around. I'm that thing. And there's not like a linguistic equivalent to that thing. You know what I'm saying? So if I have to say a word about myself in that way, I would say I'm a Black girl. But I wouldn't say that about myself if I was choosing. You know, do you understand what I'm
If
saying?
you had to, like, because we live in a world of language, this particular
I
phrase is
wouldn't even say we live in a world of language. Like I am a thing, right?
Mhm.
Like to you, I am a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm already a thing without me saying anything about myself. I am what I am to you, right? And I
Mhm.
am that thing. And it's not linguistic, right? So that is the way I would identify.
Okay, that makes sense. It's more of
Yeah.
like expression or an experience than a language to
Yeah. Like
describe.
I could symbolically express myself. And if I was to symbolically describe myself to someone else, generally speaking, I'm a Black girl. You know what I'm saying? Like for all intensive purposes. Beyond that, like you want to know, have I had vagina or a penis in my mouth? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yes. You know what I'm saying? Like things have been like yes. You know what I'm saying? Like other than that, it's just like, you don't know. I think that those things are arbitrary. Those
Mm.
are even more arbitrary than, you know what I'm saying, than what we were talking about was arbitrary before. Because it's like a way that people find comfort, descriptors that'll make you feel closer or further from someone when you're not really saying nothing about them. It's just these words that we're comfortable with describing people with, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I
Like
love. I
I
love.
don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I've never thought. I don't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I wonder if they're even, what the fuck would I say? Non-binary, or I wonder if they're bisexual. I wonder if they're queer. I never even think about it. It's just like I fuck with this person or I don't fuck with this person, and it could be. I don't like the way you smell. Like I'm not just, it's not so deep. You know what I'm saying? Like either. It ain't that deep either. But you know what I'm saying? I just don't think about those things. To define to define me, you'd have to wait until you get to the end, I would think.
Okay.
Till I die. You know what I'm saying? Then it could be like, oh, okay, she boned 72 girls and 102 men, so therefore she is, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, exactly. Like, okay, she did this. Like, what even would, yeah, I don't even know. And me, who is I'm like, I'm not shy about describing things or any of those things. It's just that thing is very weird for me to describe myself that way. But if I would to check off a box, like I said,
Mhm.
I'm down with Black girl. You know what I'm saying? Specifically Black, you know.
Specifically, but
And like, if anything, like that part is important. Other than that,
in a sense, we're all just phenomenons. Like, there's nothing that really describes why or how we even got here. We're just the universe, like, experiencing it.
yeah, is somebody knocking? What's up? Oh yeah, come on. Break that money off, baby. Thank you.
What am I missing right now?
No, nothing. My mom dropping some money off in my like, we put our $5 bills into this little box. I have an account for Wolverine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So like, it was like some idea somebody said, like, you say $5. Every time you get a $5 bill, put it somewhere. And that, like, a few years ago became Wolverine savings account. So.
Can you tell us about if you feel comfortable about Wolverine and what it's like to be a mother and raising
Dude,
this beautiful Black boy?
that
What is
shit's
it like?
crazy. I would not have chosen to be a mother. I
Wow.
did not choose to be a mother. And I became a mother. I was on my birth control very faithfully. when I became a mother. But Wolverine wasn't having it. I was clearly meant to be a mother. But it's natural. I wasn't interested in being a mother because of the things that I heard about what mothers are and what mothers have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have to tell nobody else what to do. Like, I want to think about what I have to do. So to have to consider somebody else, I'm not very selfless in that way. Like, my whole life, I'm like, oh, I got to do what, I'm like, okay, I need to do this. Oh, now I'm a big sister. Cool. So now it's me and this one. So I'm watching him too, like it's like, all right, cool. That's good for me. I'm good. Like, so Wolverine is interesting because, like, I always felt motherly. Like I always say, like, this thing, like when I first had Wolverine, I'd be like, oh, the squad taught me how to mom, like I'm the mom of the squad. Like, I'm naturally watching and taking care of shit that needs to be taken care of, which is a mom thing. But I'm also very, like, even now to this day, like, I know Wolverine and I love Wolverine. And I know but there's a duality. Like, there's a position that I have, that I know I have, that this is my responsibility, because obviously Wolverine did not choose to be born. Like, there were plenty of things that could have happened between his conception and now that, what I'm saying, that this relationship did not have to come to be, right? I determined that. Well, for the most part, obviously he got past the micro Justin, but I'm always like, fuck, I have to do this and figure out what to do about the kid. Because so much of my mind has been, I want to do this thing and figure out how to do this thing. Me getting from point A to point B. Point A, me getting to point B. You know what I'm saying? No point C. Like, I'm so straight up the middle. It's crazy for me to go, that's the thing I want. I got to go over here and make sure this thing is okay before I can go and attack that thing right away. So that shit, I guess maybe with time, I'll get past that part of it. Maybe it'll be like second nature, but it's not yet. Like, Wolverine's about to be 4, and it's still like, I see a thing and I'm like, oh, I can do this, this, and this. And I think about that I think about it that point blank. Like, I can do this, this, and this to get to that thing. Then as an afterthought, I have to go, okay, now let's factor in how I'm going to do it with a baby. But I figure it out. And it's much more difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like, period. It's not easier with the kid. Like, the kid is cool and the kid is legacy and the kid is lit, but I make art. So I already felt a sort of pregnancy and legacy type thing within myself, without the kid. You know what I'm saying? Without the kid. So that thing that brings that side of people out, that he didn't bring that out of me. I already had that out of me. So that little thing that plugs people to baby, like, oh, now I have a legacy. It's like, I had a legacy. I'm a writer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was building a legacy already without you, right? Which I wasn't, because he was always there, right? But it's lit, because it reminds me of these conversations I have with people sometimes that ask me about my pro-Blackness, these things that matter to me so much that are things I cannot choose, that I didn't choose. Most of the things that matter to me most are things I didn't choose, Like, I once told somebody, like, if I'm born in a fucking Lakers jersey, I don't shoot at the Bulls basket. That don't make no sense.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I'm born with black skin and nappy hair. I'm black. Like, that's it. That's not a choice. These things just are. And Wolverine just is. And so, like, that realization, it makes me go, yeah, dum-dum, that's not a choice, but neither were these other things that are the basis of operation. So he just is a basis of operation now too.
I feel like he's an extension of, like, who you are already. It's just like, I'm this person, I'm this experience, and Wolverine just seems to be an extension of, like, the what is that's already existing.
Yeah, both ways too, though. Like, not even, so much more circular. Like, yeah, I'm extending via him, but he's extending via me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a reincarnation of whatever I was already made from, Like, it's like, I always call him the baby elder. Like, we're the baby elders, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much wisdom in us that we have to give our parents, because we're part baby. Yeah, we're new. Some stuff is new and some stuff is older than you can remember, but that I still remember, And I don't know, man. Wolverine is lit. Like, it's a challenge that I didn't plan. And I'm very meticulous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so to have to, this is why I like to freestyle too, you know, like as part of my, you know, like the vocabulary exercise. Cause it's like being able to improvise with your weaponry, like being able to do it spot on. Like I didn't get to think about that or plan that. And I still had to be prepared to accept it and add it to my journey. Like this is now added to my journey. Am I off my journey? Does my journey change? Am I somebody different? Is my purpose the same? Doesn't matter what they throw about, you know, at me or in me. You know, so, you know, like these things like that I've already been asking before he came, but that I had to actually apply when he got here, which I wouldn't have expected ever in that way. My relationship with motherhood, I think maybe is different too. You know, like even being a single mom, like all that shit, you know?
I'm not gonna lie, I, as like a creator and artist, there's a fear in my head of like, do I want children? How am I gonna change? Who am I within that context? And I see you and I'm just like, oh, it's possible.
Yeah, so man.
I want to applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. You make that shit look so, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's like intricacies and complexities that, you know, people will never have understand or have access to because it's, you know, it's your experience.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You make that shit look so fly.
No, thank you, man. Thank you. It feels dope. Like once I get past when you're in shit, it's like, it's like I like to hike, right? So I liken a lot of my determination to how my like for hiking. Because when I'm hiking, it's not like I'm a fucking sporto and I'm like, let's go up the mountain. I'm like climbing up the mountain and I'm like, bitch, we gonna die. And I'm like, no, bitch, you've been up a mountain before. Like, you're not gonna die. And it's gonna be lit when we get up there. We're gonna have this view. Like, I'm going for the view. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can get through anything with the anticipation of that viewpoint, of that perspective, of being able to see a bigger picture than the one I can see from where I'm at. So there's almost nothing I won't go through to get to the answer, you know what I'm saying, of that perspective. And there's so much perspective in motherhood that I didn't have before, just of quieting myself, my immediate impulses while being pregnant is what I learned the most lessons from. Quieting my own impulses, because that's like my guide, period. It's like, oh, that's how I eat. That's how I decide when I work out. Oh, no, I'm not working. Oh, that's enough. We're sweating. We don't like sweating right now. We're done working out. Like, that's my gauge, period, up until now.
Got you.
Then you can hear yourself, the different things that he wants versus what you want, you know? And it's crazy. Like, it's so, like, that, like, it created a whole different lane for what I could write, you know? Like, how I could see things when I'm writing, how I could react to different people, like, as far as projecting my own emotions in a situation. Like, I can feel myself and how I feel about this thing and decide whether or not it makes any sense to the bigger picture for me to apply those emotions in right now, you know what I'm saying, in this way, while this is heightened, or while this is, you know what I'm saying, while this person is feeling this, does that even make sense? And that's all because of motherhood. I would have never had the perspective of thinking I should put someone else's needs before my own if that person did not live inside of my uterus. There's no way. I would have never, I was married for like a decade. And it ended because it was like, dog, you're trying to make me do too many things. That's not me. Like, I was down for a lot of things, but too many things. And it's like, the whole deal's off, bro. I don't like you that much. It's like weed. I always go, I don't like you niggas more than weed. That's real as fuck. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just like going off on tangents now.
Okay, it's okay. Where do you find home? That's why I'm here to
guide me back. Yes. Yeah. Where do I find home? In a journal. It doesn't matter where. Like, that is home. Like, this is my little notebook and my pen. That's where I live.
That's beautiful. What are you searching for?
Searching for. When I think about searching, I think about trying to see something that I can't see. And I am working towards, I feel like the search thing in me, the thing that I'm building towards is something that is within my sight. Like connectivity that I see, but that I see inside in my inner eye, that I want to see outside. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like So I search. What do I search for? Is that like a search? I don't know if I'm searching for anything. Yeah, I don't think that I'm searching for anything. I got some shit that I have that I want to cultivate, but I don't know if I'm searching for anything.
I got that. That's a beautiful answer, actually. Who's like the first person on screen or like in music or on stage, like in the media, that you felt connected to?
The very first person ever of all time was Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Young Michael Jackson. You know, Afro Michael. And I wasn't even alive during this time, but just from watching Moonwalker, and it has like all the old clips of Michael Jackson and it leads up to this the end. So when I was very young, Michael Jackson, like I used to sing the When I Loved You for my aunties and shit like that, and like act out the whole thing. Like I was big on Michael Jackson. Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
I was huge on Eddie Murphy stand up, like how it started off when he's a little kid. And then, so I don't know if that's Raw or Delirious, but
it
one of those.
Starts off, Delirious is when he's younger, and then it moves on to, I think of it, red suit, pink, purple suit.
Yes, exactly. It's like, all right, he was a Crip, then he was a Blood. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, leather no matter what. But Eddie Murphy, and then when I got a little bit older, but still very young, Queen Latifah. I loved Queen Latifah, period. As soon as I saw Queen Latifah, as soon as I heard Queen Latifah, as soon as I heard Ladies First, I was big on Salt and Pepper. I loved Claire Huxtable because she reminded me of my mama.
Nice.
Yeah, that's who I remember most as far as, you know, like when I was younger. I'm trying to remember as far as people that are people, you know, because I was like big on cartoons when I was younger too.
What are some cartoons that stood out to you?
I love Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I was a humongous Ninja Turtles fan. I was a humongous X-Men fan. Hence, my son's name is Wolverine. I was huge on He-Man and She-Ra.
Mm-hmm.
And Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I was Roger Rabbit like 3 years in a row for Halloween. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think cartoons, because I'm working on my thesis and it's all about fat femmes and cartoons and like how that plays out, how that imagination seems like as a more intricate perspective for like fat women to gain entry into seeing themselves. Are there any do you think like cartoons hit differently for you than just like live action films?
Oh yeah, I love cartoons. Like I always say, fucking cartoons and stand-up comedy like raised me, like taught me everything I need to know. Wow. Like big time. I love Ursula. Like that's my favorite bitch of all time. Like I always wanted to dress like Ursula for Halloween. I'm like, but it gotta be fire. Like I can't. Like I'm like, I want to be Ursula one of these days.
Did you see when Queen Latifah did Ursula?
Who?
Queen Latifah did Ursula.
Yes, and I loved it.
It's amazing.
It looked amazing. I was like, yes. Like I was like, that's perfect. And I'm like, is this gonna be real? Like, is this a real thing? Like, are they gonna be like? Is this like? Where is it? Yeah, like where is it? I was ready. But I think that cartoons are, because the thing that I teach when I teach fiction, when I teach is about how so much truth can be expressed through fiction. The same reason I love stand-up comedy. That comedians are some of the darkest people you're ever gonna know. Like they know so much, and then flip it into humor to feed it back. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that is the same thing with fat femmes. It's like you gotta freak your sexuality into, you know, you gotta kind of game up somebody into realizing some shit that's already fact about you because they've been gamed up so hard by what society has in their head. And I think that cartoons, because of different shapes, sizes, colors, like different physical attributes between the heroes and the villains, like you could be a hero or a villain and look good or look bad. You know what I'm saying? Like all that shit allows you some more shit to play with. And I think a fat femme, because of whatever the standards are, you know what I'm saying, needs more shit to play with. You got to be more player to kind of express yourself.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't want to say the bare minimum, but yeah, you do. You gotta find that one thing that's just a little bit more. You can't be walking around here like a basic skinny bitch. Like,
right, you can't just have on some basic shit. Like, you can't be basic. Like, you gotta really, you have to fly your freak flag. Like, you gotta really do
yes.
Like, you have to, you know, like, and a cartoon is gonna do them. Like, you you can sing, you got a Babs Bunny. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're always on. Like, you're never off. You know, like, oh, you the girl in the group? No, you're Dot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I think that, plus, that's a big deal of the look of villains versus heroes. And,
yep.
and you can have fat heroes and skinny villains in cartoons. And that's not usually, or you know what I'm saying? That's not usually something you find elsewhere.
Yeah, there's something about,
that's new. That's some new shit.
Yeah, there's something about like a fat being able to traverse both like good and bad within cartoons. I'm thinking like Megamind, like how skinny he was.
Exactly.
And how big what that fool was, Metro Man.
Yeah, Metro Man.
They use shit like that all the time in cartoons and animations, especially now. Let's jump into being a fat femme. I feel like you and I have had maybe like subsidiary conversations, especially like online and stuff like that, interactions about what that experience is. What is that for you? And yeah, dive into that.
It's interesting because I like my whole, before I got with Snatch Power and doing burlesque, my whole relationship with my body was different. I was very much just worried about, okay, what could my body do? Like, can I do these things? Am I strong enough to do this, that, and that? So when they asked me to start doing burlesque, it was like, I was scared. So that's the reason I did in the first place, because I don't like to be scared of shit. Like, I'm like, scared? Wait, what? We doing that straight up. Like, that's the next thing we doing. We scared of it. Like, so it's like, all right, to have to deal with people sexualizing my body was like stressful for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I had separated from my husband. So I first separated from my husband and I lost my virginity to my husband. So that was like my sexual experience period. And it was pretty whack for the most, not for the most part. It was whack. You know what I'm saying? It was whack. In retrospect, in hindsight, it was whack as well, but I never felt ugly. I never felt unattractive. A lot of stories that I hear, even about being dark skinned experiences I didn't have necessarily. Like, nobody ever called me some weird shit because I'm dark,
Mm-hmm.
I grew up around, my family is colored like me, you know what I'm saying? Like, basically, but we also are just like, some Q-tip shit, black is black. Like, we didn't do that in my house, you know what I'm saying? So, and for whatever reason, probably because it was a bunch of us at the same school, nobody said no slick shit either, So when I think about my cousins, though, my older cousins, and how so many women in my family are fat femmes, but they never even considered themselves being sexy or sexual or any of that stuff until me. Like, until they saw, they look exactly like me. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I never thought anything, like, they're beautiful to me. You know what I'm saying? I never looked at them like they look like what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? Y'all look like a bunch of warrior queen ass bitches that's running the house. Like, what you talking about? Like, you out here shining and glistening, looking blue black. Like, chill out. But that was not, I did not understand until they started talking to me, and they only started talking to me about that because I did some shit that they wouldn't have approved of in the first place, which is start getting butt naked and do burlesque, right? So it's lit because I'm them. I'm the scrappy version of them. So it's like, when they see me being scrappy, they don't scrap with me, they scrap for me. You know what I'm saying? They jump behind me, which is a different experience than I hear a lot of people having when they choose to fly their freak flag for their family. But I was ready for the fade at the same time. Like, even if it was gonna go the other way, I was ready for the fade. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, what's good? And usually when you approach something ready for the fade, it does not want to fade you back. It doesn't suddenly, it's suddenly diplomacy. You know what I'm saying? And that, I'm just, when I get an idea in my head, like, fuck all that. Fat femme. Okay, let me get back to this.
Okay.
On being a fat femme, I like the way bodies look. Bodies look good to me. You know what I'm saying? Probably based on whatever the spirit is. I'm assuming that's just a reflection of whatever the person is doing for me spiritually. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I've never looked at, there are things that turn me off physically, and I think that's because they are rooted, like I said, like smells. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't like the way you smell, and it doesn't matter if it's super perfumey or super stank, I like the stink off of somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm into it, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I'll be into the stink. But then there's certain things, and I think that's my relationship. That became my relationship with being fat and being femme. And it helped me. It's something beyond the physicality of a thing. Like, even the things that we look to, and so much, and it's just stressful because right now it's so different because things are just moving beyond, to me, that phase. We see each other so much, like we see this screen so much. Yeah. It's like motherfuckers are urging to move past that thing. So much of being a fat femme when I was coming up is not the way I feel now. It was the way I felt then. It was just no expression for it. You know, like, I'm like, I'm not turned off by your body because you're fat. You know what I'm saying? So, and I don't feel bad in my body. Like, as long as my shit is fucking, all right, stretch it, kick it, we good. You know what I'm saying? I'm fucking with me too. You know what I'm saying? So everything else, like the holdups that other people had, like wear it like this and suck it in and put this thing, like all that stuff was stuff I was watching from the outside of other people doing it, people that are older than me. And stuff that people try to put on to me too, but I just took it as I'm not into fashion. I didn't take it as I'm fat. You know what I'm saying? I just went, I'm not gonna put something on that don't fit just because I'm supposed to look like this thing. If it don't fit, I don't fucking like it. You know what I'm saying? If I can't, I fucking used to tell Uhuru, because Uhuru, like, everybody always tries to fucking dress me up and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I got whatever kind of shape, you know, like, and they're like, yeah, do it like, and I'm like, if I can't fight and run, you know, I'm not leaving this house. Like, you could get a look at it, because I'm out of there. Like, I'm out of it. I'd rather be naked. Like, love that. And I don't. That's another thing that's a tricky thing to answer, like gender. Like, it's weird. People put fetishes onto me. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, thick is in.
How do you combat that? I personally, as a fat femme, don't like being fetishized or like niggas in my DM be like, oh, I really like how big your ass.
I ain't never. Oh, I wonder what that's like.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
The niggas get blocked. It's nothing. I don't even entertain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got niggas. I don't, like, I'm like, and niggas that know what to do with it, niggas that been into it, like niggas that knew. Like, it's like, nigga, I know, I get it, but block though, because you don't even get it, like, because you're gross. Like, but that's just you gross. Like, you could have said anything. You could have been talking to a skinny bitch. That's probably why you're not getting no pussy now. Like, you just been blocked. Like, you know, it's not like a thought. You know what I'm saying? I know that a lot of people do internalize it because I see also responses to it. And because I follow a lot of fat girls. I follow a lot of fat pages, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm fucking fat. Like, I'm down with the fucking struggle. But I'm not necessarily underneath the struggle in that way. Like, I can see those, because I think that a lot of this experience is happening to people that are younger than me, because a lot of their experience is online, and because I interact a lot on the planet outside of the computer, like with real men in real time. I see this as more of a perversion of the internet than a perversion of people relating to fat girls, because on the street or on the East Coast or in other places, like I've also been other places where it's not like that. So I more attribute that to it being niggas with the internet, like lonely niggas with the internet, but more so than how people act towards fat girls. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for making that distinction, because I be saying the same shit to people. Like, I could walk out right now and have like a slew of motherfuckers. Not that that's what I'm interested in, but it's like,
yeah, but it's like normal. Life is normal. It's just the internet is weird. Like, it's like I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna pull like anybody else is gonna pull. You're gonna pull what you're gonna pull. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but nobody, like, we're gonna vibe off what we're gonna vibe off. Like, it's just like, but so much when it's concentrated like this, like a nigga just sat here and went through my whole hashtag and just a bunch of, you know what I'm saying? Or he went through a whole snatch power slew of, you know what I'm saying? Like you got concentrated dreams coming at you. I understand, baby, you slid in the DMs. Like I get it. It's overpowering. Let me block you and save your life. You know what I'm saying?
Boom. You were mentioning snatch power. For the people who don't know who or what snatch power is, can you divulge in that? And also, I'm interviewing Uhuru tomorrow, so I would love to get some conversations about like what snatch power is and how it started and how y'all have grown over the years.
That's lit. Okay, so snatch power is a Afrofuturistic, post-apocalyptic art collective.
Yeah.
You know, and that is what Uhuru would say. And funny enough, when I started working with Snatch Power, the first time I worked with Snatch Power, they were doing a burlesque show based on Alice in Wonderland, and it was called let me not misquote it. I want to say maybe it was called Down the Rabbit Hole, but I don't want to misquote. I have to look and tell you later. But I was interviewing them. I was interviewing Uhuru and Flannery, who were the first people. Flannery was like this white girl contortionist.
Oh wow.
So she was like the dancer part of Snatch Power. But Snatch Power was Uhuru's idea. I guess they had met on a bus. I have to send you the link because I think it might still be up, or I have it somewhere of me interviewing them.
Ooh,
and so I interviewed them about Snatch Power because it was the first thing Snatch Power had ever done. And then I went to like the rehearsals for the show. I recorded like background shit. Then I went to the show and shit like that. And it was dope. You know what I'm saying? It was like burlesque. And that was all it was in that moment that I knew about. Snatch Power was a burlesque troupe. So they were doing burlesque dances created by Uhuru and Flannery. And so the next time I met up with them, I interviewed, Uhuru was working for this lady, Mary, MBT. She has like these boutiques around Los Angeles. Very dope, like incredible fucking fashion eye. Like she put, even her decorating the insides of her shops was like incredible. Mary Moultrie, and now she does film. Uhuru was working as her assistant at that time. So she was like, oh, you got to interview Mary, da-da-da-da. We're going to do the next Snatch Power event here. It's going to be based on Marie Antoinette for her birthday. We have the same fucking birthday, me and Mary, Scorpios. So wow. She's going to have this birthday based on Marie Antoinette, and Snatch Power is going to dance. And it was called Let Them Get Cake instead of Let Them Eat Cake. Okay. And so it was, Snatch Power is going to wear her designs, I believe, her lingerie, and then dance burlesque. So they put on a whole show, big show. And I covered that one too. I interviewed Mary, covered the show, did a whole video. Like, I'll send you the link to that too.
Okay, perfect.
And then after I did that one, Uhuru and them approached me and asked me to be in the next show, which was going to be at Mary's spot the same way, except they were going to collaborate with Eileen. Sorry, Lean. Eileen, who does low class art, like designs. I don't know. You know Lean?
I don't know Lean. Mm-mm.
Maybe if you saw her, but she used to be around. I don't know. She used to be around a lot, and she designs, and she's a white girl. Like she looks like super like 60s out, like little shortcut bangs, blonde.
I feel like there's so many people. If I look at them, I'm like, I know.
She used to have like a residency at the Cheetahs in Hollywood.
Ooh,
like Club Clit. You ever heard of Club Clit?
Club Clit is. I've been
so it's them. So Lean was a fashion designer. Is a fashion designer. So she designed the clothes for that third Snatch Power show, which was going to be hosted at Mary's spot. And and it was Austin Powers themed. And it was called Treat Yourself. It was Treat Yourself. It was Austin Power themed. T-Rex was fucking Austin Powers. She like customized the fits. Like she made us customize outfits for these Uhuru was a fembot.
Yeah.
Like in these fucking silver fucking cape with these briefs and these fucking cone boobs. I was Foxy Cleopatra. I had like thighs out, like it was like a little loincloth situation, more cones. I had a fur. I had my fucking great grandmother's mink on.
Yeah.
So that was like a big thing to me. And then it was like the homies were there, so it's like I'm about to take my clothes off in front of the homies. Like this is fucking weird, you know. But how everybody approached it afterwards, it was just like so lit. Like even the homies, they're like, "You look beautiful. Like you look like what the fuck? Like I don't even know how to feel, you know." But anyway, so that was my experience with Snatch Power. Snatch Power, for me, was like opening up this different type of power, like this power and strength via sexuality, via womanhood that I had low key been trying to avoid because I've been leading with intellect. I think a lot of part of that is just the way that my father chose to rear me. Just like, all right, don't fuck with, like, don't mess with boys, be in these books. And it was like, that's cool, nigga, because I like books anyway. Yep. Like, so it's like, I will obsess over this thing. And I just didn't really deal with any of that other shit because I wasn't, one, they didn't want me to in the first place. And I wasn't hyper interested in it anyway. So I was like, cool. Now niggas is acting weird because I got boobs, but I'm in these books anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have my excuses of how I can get around that to a certain degree. And that time was up by the time I got with Snatch Power. So
yeah, Snatch Power is like, I feel
it's like, and it created this like little kind of room I could be naked in before the big room of the planet. Like this place where I could reflect off of what my body is outside of what it is, outside of this kind of protected structure. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting naked with y'all, and then we're all gonna get naked, you know what I'm saying, for them. So it's like we're gonna present this essence of what Black femininity was at that time. It was, everybody was Black femme, you know what I'm saying? And so it was this essence of what Black femininity is. Boom. So it was like it's more of a movement. It became less personalized, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was, I mean, for me, that's what Snatch Power was. What else? Changes in Snatch Power. Okay, so 2017, that's when the most major changes happened. Half of us split off and left Snatch Power, and half of us stayed. So it became very different. People just started growing up and changing.
Yeah, I mean,
and having differences in politics. You know what I'm saying? So it happened in a very dramatic way, but it just was some on-time shit. You know what I'm saying? And now, it's, to me, I don't even know where Snatch Power is at this moment, because the last thing we did together was in September, and I haven't really talked to Uhuru. Not really. I haven't really talked to Uhuru too majorly. Like here and there, like to get their address so I can send them a book, because they contributed to the book. They styled me for the pictures that are in the book that I put out. And then I see Maya and Jade in them all the time, but that's because they're here. But I don't really. Oh, and Uhuru, I talked to Uhuru's mom yesterday, and so, but I don't really get to talk to Uhuru for whatever reason. We just never check on each other. I think it's just one of those season things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we're out of season. You know,
Uhuru moving to New Orleans kind of, I don't want to say, I mean, was like the end of that era, or
no, I think it was before then.
Okay.
I think that became, I think that I think it had to happen for them to even be able to let go of Los Angeles in a way, because we had a lot of talks about how they should not even be in Los Angeles anymore, but they feel like they have work to do here, and how so much more, they found so much peace elsewhere, like other places in the UK and places where their soul was just more at ease, but they had something to do here for some reason. So I think that when that disconnect happened, when they did find a place where their soul could exist peacefully, when they didn't think they could before, I think that disconnect already started happening. And then whatever events transpired in between that and them actually escaping the city is circumstantial, you know? Like, I think it just was meant for them to separate, at least even if just temporarily, to get perspective or rest or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying?
I will say this. I remember doing a poetry reading in downtown LA, maybe around summer 2017, around that time. And I ran into Ambush Nicholson. I don't know if you remember Ambush.
Yeah, I know Ambush.
And after the reading, Ambush was like, yo, I love the shit that you're doing. You need to fuck with Snatch Power. And I was like, Snatch Power? Who the fuck is Snatch Power? What the fuck is Snatch Power? What's going on? And I just kept it in the back of my head.
Yeah.
And I went to an event, little DTLA, we're just running around doing the art shit. And I remember running into y'all and being like, this is wonderful. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is
It's a vibe.
yeah, it felt so good, and just getting to know a few of y'all through time has been just so wonderful. So I appreciate Snatch Power. I fuck with Snatch
Yes.
Power.
Yes, thank you.
Love it.
Hey man, I appreciate Snatch Power forever and always, because I wouldn't have been, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much Snatch Power has given me, like, there's no way. There's so much that it has given me that not only has given me that now is a part of my legacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that this has created a better version of me.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, fuck that.
When you-
It's like an essence anyway. So whatever happens to the collective itself, because we're still like in touch. It's just like we're not throwing events. So it's just kind of like, what are we when we're not? Because before there was an era when it was like Snatch Fire's got to get this paper, and we're getting everybody booked, and nobody's working for free. Like, that was our whole thing, like booking these shows and make sure the artists get paid, and we never don't get paid. Like, niggas was not getting paid before Snatch Fire came around. Niggas was working for free, and we was not having none of that shit at all. So that was like, because I don't get it
about that. Just being like, if you're here, if you're white,
yeah, period. That's what you mean? You're welcome.
Right, you will be in this space and not give what you can. Like, don't fucking spectate. Don't be voyeuristic.
Like, that was the whole thing too. Snatching now, like, not this wait until it's safe. The coast is never gonna be clear, niggas. Ooh. We snatching or no, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that once internally, the security stopped. Like, people stopped being down on the same team or believing the same thing. Whatever the rift was, the security, you need that kind of security to be able to make that statement and stand. You need that security internally to be able to make that stand externally. And I think that whenever that internal shit's not working, you can't even have a collective like that. It can't exist without that internal stability.
Like, everyone has to be on the same wavelength, same agenda for.
And even if or complementary ones, you know, because we were very different. And I think that there was, even with our differences, even with our becoming different from our old selves, there's a way to work with it. There's a way to work with it, with that shit, you know what I'm saying? Because the people that were willing to work together did work through it, you know? But it's like, you know, it's just about, and shit was so sensitive, like, fucking Fufu just finished coming from fighting this huge battle in the UK, like getting attacked from some Nazi, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that, extenuating circumstances. We were all on drugs, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were like these are extenuating circumstances that have to get taken. And then once you get on versus off, you know, I was a mother. I mean, I was not a mother versus becoming a mother. Like, so many things happened. Like, niggas crossed over from their 20s into their 30s. Like, so many things were happening. You know, Trump was becoming president. Like, shit was going down, you know? So I don't know. Like, because of the essence of Snatch Power, like, there's so much more space, I feel like, that opened up before that wasn't space for us before Snatch Power, as far as Black femininity. And there became a whole lot more space. And even within the male spaces, they started to, you know what I'm saying? Be more inclusive, be more cognizant of Black femmes, you know? And boom, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all a bitch want. Like, I'm here too, bitch. Thanks.
Security within a collective, where do you feel most safe?
Most safe? I'm like the Hulk.
Okay. Yes.
Like, they asked the Hulk, you know, well, they asked Bruce Banner, they asked him, like, one time, you know, how do you control your anger? And he tells them, I'm always angry. You know what I'm saying? So I find safety in that there is no safety for me. You know what I'm saying? That there is no safety for me, and yet here I am. That's where my safety lies. That so many have come before me relentlessly outside of safety. You know what I'm saying? Safety does not exist for this. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my team colors, it's not a team color, you know, it don't be safe for us out here. You know what I'm saying? that's fine with me. Like I posted something the other day because my neighbors, I fucking was smoking outside. My neighbors are bumping natural born killers. And I was like, I don't know about these neighbors across the street because they got this American flag in front of their house. And but they're Mexican, but they, you know what I'm saying? I think they just got the flag. I'm pretty sure that the white people that used to live there before them had that flag there and they just didn't take it down. They're like, well, shit, when in Rome.
There.
So I'm like, so, but they're bumping natural born killers yesterday, Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I'm safe. So I mean, that's where I find safety in that I am the danger. I don't have to feel unsafe because I'm the one you're scared of. So I'm good.
Perspective. I know we got a little bit of some of your answer at the beginning of this, but I'm gonna ask it. When's the first time you realized you were Black?
Oh, okay. I was always Black. I wasn't allowed to watch things that didn't have Black people in it when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Even now when I watch TV, I gotta like, oh, okay, let me get some Nollywood because this is too much Hollywood. Like I gotta like filter myself off of white. I'll be like, I love Sex in the City, but I gotta cut out real quick. Some other shit. But no, I never had that revelation. And I think a big part of it is because my mom taught me how to read and write too. Which is a big deal to me because of how much I associate and how much I understand through reading and writing. I have never not known I was Black. People have always said I'm Black. People be like, little chocolate girl, little something, something, little Black something. I'm always little Black something. Like, so, and I never took it as negative as, you know what I'm saying? I've just been Black. Like, I'm Black. Like, I look at myself and I go, yep, that's what Black look like. and then, so yeah, I can't even say, and I never had that, you know, somebody called me nigga experience. Like, that's never happened to me.
You know, it's interesting.
Not like that, you know what I'm saying? Not like you Black, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like speaking about Black people, like those experiences have happened to me where it's like somebody's talking about my people as a negative is, you know what I'm saying? Where I'll get mad.
Like me in particular.
Right. I've never had like a you, da 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 da, you know what I'm saying? But I've had, obviously I watch TV, I live on this planet, I've had those experiences, you know what I'm saying? But you know, man, I don't even know. I was always Black. And I was always, this is Black people, this is white people, this is what they gonna think. This is who you're gonna actually be, you know what I'm saying? And da da da, you know what I'm saying? It was always, I knew that. Like my mom was a business casual mama, so she was already preparing me for. I went to private school. This is what we're gonna do when we get there. How you gonna get in? This is what, you know what I'm saying. Like, we're gonna get you in. I went, and then they took me a year before it was time. Like, I always had as soon as I started having to interact with white people, which didn't happen until I started school, I was aware that I was interacting with somebody else and how I was supposed to interact with this person. It was more based on a professional setting than the race, I think, because it was like, these are school people, this is how you act at school. So I didn't necessarily associate it with Black versus white, but now in hindsight, I can go, oh, that's because they didn't want me acting a fool in front of these white people, you know what I'm saying? So. But I was always Black.
Feel that. Interesting. I've, in the interviews that I've had so far, usually the Black people who are like in communities that are predominantly white experience like Blackness as like racism at a younger age, and people who grew up in predominantly Black communities, like they're like, oh, this is just who I've been. This is what I'm going to do.
Right, because what you're surrounded by people that look like you. It's like, yeah, this is what we're doing. Like,
this is what it is.
Yeah.
When's the first time that you realized you were queer?
See, look, and again, this is people have decided I'm queer just because. Just because you eat a little coochie and you suck a little dick. And you do it all. Now you're queer. No, but when I found out. Well, I guess it would be the first time I ate some pussy. Hey. Which, what do you mean? Like, what year? No, I'm just kidding. Yes, it was way late after I was married, right before I had Wolverine, actually.
Wow.
2015, before I even thought about it. And it was all because we was in a group sex situation. And it was like, oh, the dude, so I was messing with, like, okay, so there was a point in time right after I got divorced and before I got pregnant, which is a very slim amount of time. But there was a time where I was, for some reason, attracting couples, like nonstop. More than individual people, I was attracting a lot of couples. Like where it's like, oh, that's what my boyfriend, or da, 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 you know what I'm saying? My girlfriend likes you. And it's like, what the fuck? But in this particular setting, it was the homies. And it was more than us, and it was like a couple that wanted to get with me or whatever. And so I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm messing with the guy and my baby daddy, who wasn't my baby daddy yet. And we're messing around, and then the girl comes, and I'm like, oh, this is your dude. Let's get you involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, cool. Like, so I just get focused on her, because I'm like, first of all, I've never been with the girl. So I'm like, immediately, this is the most interesting thing in the moment. And once I ate pussy and it squirted in my face, it was like, oh, this is the best thing that ever happened in my life. Like, I felt, even though I wasn't thinking about it before, in the moment it was amazing. And then afterwards it was like, damn, I never felt so accomplished. You know what I'm saying? As to have, because for some reason I've had sex. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, people come, they come. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. But I'm like, it wasn't. I don't know why it made me feel more accomplished. Where it's like, good job, and you beautiful thing, like you creature, like you deserve. You know what I'm saying? That's how I always feel about sex. I'm like, you deserve, queen. Like I'm just like, yes, like show out. Like it was just all about. I just like that part of being a lover. Period. Like I like to bestow that anyway. Like just like this kind of like just. Like this, you are the shit. Like, can we just enjoy you? Can we talk about you? Can we adore you real quick? Like, can we just enjoy all this? You know? And so it's better when the person is deserving. And a lot of times women are just more deserving of that kind of affection. And it's just naturally the affection that I like to bestow. But, you know, niggas is cool too.
I love that. I love that so much. There is something a lot more exciting about making women come than men come. That's just my experience.
Is it because it's more complex? Like I'm like, is it more complex? Maybe. And when I'm just like, it's just more. It's just more. It's just, I don't know. And then it makes me go, maybe I'm not getting all. Maybe I need a more complex male person to try to. Maybe there are more complexities I'm missing that I'm not giving the brother. I'm not giving you your fair. I feel like y'all had your shot. But no. Okay, so then I'll say that's when we'll say we can attribute that time period to my queerness. So that would have been right when I was turning 30.
That's much later in life than most people. I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't be in a rush for shit a lot of times. I just be like, oh, some shit had popped off, and then she was gay. That's why I said you gotta wait till you get to the end.
If you could talk to your 12-year-old self, what would you tell her?
My 12-year-old self? 12-year-old me, let's see, what was I doing when I was 12? I was going to junior high. 12-year-old me, I was writing in little composition books. What would I tell myself? Oh, I know what I would tell myself. Do not feel bad that you don't like to work in groups. Okay. You like to work with groups. You don't like to work within groups. There's a difference. And so I would tell myself that, because a lot of years I spent like trying to figure out why I'm not fitting into a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like where it's like, I'm a people person, I'm popular, you know what I'm saying? Like I got a personality on me, but when it comes time to do work, I like to do my work outside of the group. I like to get into the group to, I guess, do research and to do, hang out for fellowship. But when I want to do my work, I like to be outside of the group. And I spent a lot of time trying to work inside of group settings when I could have just been working. And I should have been okay with that was my vibe. And that's what I would tell my 12-year-old self.
Nice. What do you want to hear from your 60-year-old self?
What that booty do?
Yes.
The squat's still hitting, bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
My 60-year-old self, I want to know what Wolverine is up to. I want that bitch. That's all I want to know. I'm sure she's fine. If she's 60, we good.
Yeah,
good job, you old bitch. Because you're a wild one. So you made it to 60. I'm proud of you, girl. I want to know what 30-year-old Wolverine is doing. That's what I would ask my 60-year-old.
That's beautiful. Oh, man. How do you experience love?
That's it. How do I experience love?
Yeah, how do you experience love?
Constantly. Like, I feel love in a lot of times, like, and it always occurs. Like, I'm like, oh, nobody gets it. And then, like, the wind will blow or some shit will happen, you know? Like, where it's like, oh, okay, that gust was for me. You know, like, all right, calm down a little bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just watch a little bitch. Watch you know what I'm saying? Like, you good. But I think that I feel like constantly it's coming in and going out. And my thing is to always remind myself that that is what's happening. And to see that, and when I start getting tripped up, like I'm loveless or I'm wasting love or something like that, it's me to go, no, bitch, you know how this shit is in motion. You just have to make sure you see what you see now. You're not seeing the whole picture. So until you can see this thing again, you still got some looking to do. That's how I think about it, because I know that this is happening. I know for a fact. You know what I'm saying? When I'm not in a panic mode, I can feel this happening. So therefore, I know that that's what's happening. But if I'm panicking, I just go, this is what's really happening. How are we going to get back to seeing that? You know what I'm saying? So I just move the shit out of the way until, you know, that's how I experience love. It's choice, you know? I just choose, you know? Yeah, that's Team Drees, and then the rest of y'all. And the rest of y'all, and then whoever's not, you know, because that's my part of the job, you know what I'm saying? And then you got to team me, you know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, there ain't going to be nobody to do those jobs. So those are our jobs, you know, that's our post. And that's how I express love. Me first. You know, and that's how I experience it, you know.
The highest love, me first.
Yeah. Even through mommyhood, everybody's like, well, now. I'm like, now. I'm like, and anyway, I'm like, now what? Me first. I fucked with Wolverine. It's just like, I even tell people, I'm like, first of all, Wolverine just got here. Bonovich. I'm like, Bonovich, my brother's still number one. Like, Wolverine got a couple more years. Like, he cool, he's straight. Like, I'll feed him and everything, but
that's powerful. That's
plus it just puts people back in their place. Like, nigga, this ain't your mama's mama, homie.
If you could change your identity, would you?
What do you mean I can? I'm just kidding.
I mean, tell me.
Imagine, poof, and
right.
I'm like,
tell me, show me.
I do. My identity, I mean, what I identify as is always changing. That's why it's like one of those things you can't put a word on, because like you put a fucking stamp on some shit, it's there, it's permanent. Like I think that, yeah, like that's one of those things that's non-determined too. Like, yeah, there's parts of you that's gonna change constantly that you identify with. That's the reason I shaved my head, you know, because I just wanted to, people approach you a certain way when you have locks versus when you you have a wig on. You know what I'm saying? They treat you very differently. You know, you're gonna be sis and queen with the locks, and if I got baby hairs brushed down to my forehead, it's gonna be shawty and da-da-da. It's a whole nother approach, you know? So I think that, and I am queen and I'm shorty. So it's like important to me even to be all those identities, even as a Black woman, even as a big Black woman, to not be mammied or auntied, you know? So those are things that I am cognizant of more via other people's experiences. Because I never had that experience where somebody was trying to turn me into a mama auntie type, but I seen it with my aunts. So I'm cognizant of showing exactly how sexual I am, but not overdoing it if I don't feel overdone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so my identity, if I could change my identity, would I? Yes. And that's because I'm nosy. I will want to be anybody that could see me outside of myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I love that. Tell me about the writing classes that you have.
Oh yeah. Okay, so now I have the first Scribindi Roundtable. So that one's all about pushing people to write their own stories and making sure we understand political language versus communicative language.
Mm.
I like in the first class, I just talk about people that use their words to give you some of themselves, and then people that use their words to hide themselves away, and or people that use their words to hide pieces of your own self away from you. Like these types, and we just talked about how the problem with white people telling Black stories, which once you say it like that, you don't really have to explain what the problem is. We talk about Playing in the Dark by Toni Morrison, which is we read that, or I read sections of it to the class. And then from the big picture of, as a race, as people of color, I try to extrapolate it down to as you need to tell your own story as well. You need to know your own story, and even know that hearing your own story and your words is important, because a lot of times our vision of ourselves is in the voice of somebody else's, somebody else's voice. Like, oh, my mom would say I'm, my friends would think I'm, my husband thinks I'm, my son, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of my writing is about writing about yourself and writing sounding like yourself, as to not put on the pedestal anybody else's intellect just because it more resembles standard American English. So I encourage a lot of people to dictate, record themselves writing, and then type it just as is, so that they sound like themselves, so that their dialect is included in their language. They don't necessarily transfer their naturalness into standard American English, because it's not necessary, because it doesn't make you any smarter.
Yeah, and it doesn't make the story any more truer.
Exactly. It actually makes it falser, because that's not how you said it. That's not how you thought it. You know what I'm saying? So, and it gives weight to the fact that that is the highest be all to end all in intellect. Every time we switch our writing into standard American English, we're given a nod to standard American English as the highest form of intellect, So that's kind of what my writing classes are about: organizing your thoughts and sounding like yourself, sounding like where you came from, and putting weight on your words versus what somebody says about you. Because just internalizing that, period, is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Somebody can't know the reason why. I think the vibe that I have is very much rooted in the fact that nobody can tell me about it. No one. Even you, Mom. I'm gonna tell you about you. I came out of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like, we'll have those conversations playfully, but dead ass. You know what I'm saying? And then I gotta look at Wolverine and go, same shit. Like, he's spitting back to me without even language. He's spitting me back to me. You know what I'm saying? So what's that saying? Like, there's these things that's an intellect far beyond language. And, so that's what my writing classes are about: writing in your own tongue, writing in your own words, putting your voice on most high when you're writing. When you're writing, you are God. You're the God. You're the God MC. You are the writer. You're the architect. If somebody was writing, if we were talking about the Bible, cool. We can big up King James, but we ain't talking about the Bible. We're talking about whatever the fuck you're writing, So that's my big thing when I do my writing class. That's my big thing when I study writing. When I study literature, the big thing is truth in fiction. How I don't trust textbooks. I don't trust things that are absolute, because the absolutes ain't true. And how so much of Black truth is whittled into fiction because nobody sees a threat in telling a tale. You know what I'm saying? So that's what a lot of when I study literature is about finding the truth, or learning how to hide truths within your writing to protect yourself, to hide it. Because sometimes, it's time to hide your intellect. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to hide your intellect. Not, no, you absolutely do. You just do. Like right now, it might not be like, oh, I gotta pretend I'm dumb to da da da, but I gotta definitely pretend I need somebody else to do, like to get from point A to point B using cunning. I think that part of switching to standard American English is that shoot when you see the whites of their eyes versus going to war guerrilla style.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's about you having a weaker weapon when you go to speak about yourself. Because if I tell you wait until you see the whites of their eyes, but your strength is going guerrilla style and using your cunning, you're gonna lose like this every time because you don't have that brute force of an army, right? It's like the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Linguistically. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, yeah. Like
I've
it's like
someone. I mean, we talk about it. I mean, when you read it theoretically, it makes sense. But I like how you're putting it. You're framing it in such a tangible way that I don't think I've ever heard it like that before.
Yeah, man. Language is
it's a weapon.
It's got some shit on it. It's a weapon. It's a weapon, and it's the one that's used so much that if you just start with my voice is the loudest, so much shit that's being used against us just turns into fodder. Like so much shit you can just look and go, nigga, that ain't got shit to do with me. Yep. Like, cause I know my neighborhood and I know my people. Because you watching your shit from the inside box of somebody else can tell you about some shit. Ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing about Wolverine. What I'm gonna go in the box and they're gonna tell me about, you know what I'm saying? Like this thing that I've been around and nurtured and done, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like this cultivation of relationships, and relating to yourself. It's like everything is built to separate you from self. And the writing, yeah.
Are you a big movie fan? Like, do you watch all the latest new movies that
latest new movies? Maybe not. I kind of might have fell off of that era of my life, but I'm a big movie fan. Like, I'm a big classic cult movie fan. But I don't even know what the last movie is that I saw.
I'm listening to you talk, and my friend Toya, or just a lot of people that I know, we were talking about Harriet, the movie that just came out. Queen.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but yes, I know about it. Yeah.
Right. It's like all these Black films, and right now they're I'm gonna phrase this. They're utilizing UK Black British actors to come in and play these
historical Black American figures. I saw people talking about that.
How did you feel about that? Because God, I want to see what your initial reaction to that is. Ooh,
I mean, so many Black British actors are playing Americans in other type of films. I'm curious as to why does it matter?
I think my friend Toya, she said that there are specific genes that Black Americans have that Black British people do not have. So when you have a Black American actor play, for example, Harriet, a slave or a former slave, there's something genetically that's going to register within that person's personification of the character and translate to the screen that a British actor necessarily wouldn't have.
Oh, yeah, I can see that happening because that happens when British people act like they're hood. It's like, you sound crazy. Like, you're not, like, you're clearly not from there.
I'm listening to you talking. I'm just applying it to that because I think you're right. Like, your voice is the loudest voice, should be the loudest voice. And I don't see how, even though there is a diaspora, we have a shared connectedness to to Africa. There are still distinctions within our genetic makeup, still distinctions in our history that don't necessarily mean that all of our voices are going to sound the same.
Right. No, I feel that. And I think that that's important when you tell. It's interesting because it happens all the time for Black Americans. It's like the thing with the safety thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like there is no safety for this person in this space, in this time. You know what I'm saying? So safety is not a consideration necessarily, except the safety that exists always, right? So it's like there's no time, there's hardly ever any time when the Black American is being represented in American cinema the way that they are, the way that we are. So that's what I mean when I go. I understand this instance, and that doesn't negate that this instance is fact. But just the same as I just don't understand why is it this thing and not so many of the other things? Like, what is the... Oh, never mind. I get it. I feel it. I get it. Because it's still a diss. So I do get that. That it's like, well, they're the niggas we can deal with. We can deal with British niggas. You know what I'm saying? So I still see that. I can see how that's a diss. So that's still a diss. It's like, well, they're proper. They're from the motherland of England. So, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, all you got to do is just don't support that shit and support the shit that is the shit that you want. And like we live in an era where that shit is super duper possible. So I don't know. I didn't see the shit, but I'm glad now I know that it might be whack not to watch it. I don't like to see slave shit anymore, to be honest. Like, so if there's anything else to watch Black people doing besides slavery, I'm usually trying to watch that.
So I know. I was listening to you talk about, like, just your voice should be the loudest voice. Like, to me, that's so fucking powerful. And I think a lot of people do it habitually. Like, they have that, like, a lot of people have come to that conclusion, but not necessarily have had going back to language to, like, really express that in ourselves when we create, when we write. So I think that was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yes, you're welcome. Man, that's the modus operandi. Yeah. Like what? Like, because if I have to consider everything, you got to have somebody that has the final answer. You know, like Toni Morrison got this thing. I think after 7 times or some odd numbers, she cut herself off from doing drafts. You know, because it's like I'm always find some shit wrong with it. You know, or I'm always have some other thing to gauge it up against where it's like, nah, this is me right now, and I'm done. Period. Like, if I'm gonna make some shit better, I'll do it with the next thing.
Yeah, I'll do it with the next project.
Exactly. But yeah, man, your voice is if I was meant to hear somebody else's voice louder than mine, my voice wouldn't be this close to my ears.
I love that. Is there anything else that that I may have not touched on that you really want to express in this moment?
Just like knowledge of self is knowledge of everything else, you know? And the tree thing. Oh, I got this big tree thing. Okay. So think about being a tree, and that the tree is just as much seed as it is root, as it is bark and branches and flowers and fruit, and struggling through the dirt doesn't mean that you won't ever see the sun. And you're not gonna be able to get to the sun without it. So I don't know. I just have like that tree shit. And then, like, you know, and trees are circular. The fruit falls and it, Yeah. So everything is in you. Everything you need to do whatever the fuck you gotta do is in you, like it's in the tree. You just gotta decide what fucking stage in the nurturing process you're in, and fucking be kind to yourself. You know what I'm saying? But just recognize that you're gonna go through all that shit. That's it. I guess that's what if I had to say something.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.
Okay.